Kurd Lasswitz was a German writer and scientist. He was born in 1848 in Breslau, the son of an iron merchant and Prussian politician Karl Wilhelm Lasswitz. He studied mathematics and physics at the Breslau University, attending the classes of astronomer Johann Gottfried Galle, who had discovered the planet Neptune in 1846. He continued his studies until the outbreak of the Franco-Prussian War, Lasswitz then volunteering for a 1 year's military service. Following France's defeat and the proclamation of the German Empire, Lasswitz earned the title of Doctor of Philosophy following his submission of the paper Über Tropfen, welche an festen Körpern hängen und der Schwerkraft unterworfen sind, or On Drops which hang upon solid bodies and are subject to gravity. Moving to Gotha in 1876, he became a teacher at the Ernestinum Gotha, becoming a gymnasial professor in 1884, the same time he would become a member of the Deutsche Akademie der Naturforscher, Leopoldina, or the German Academy of Natural Researches, founded in 1652. He was subsequently elevated to the status of Hofrat in 1909 and died a year later at Gotha from complications stemming from appendicitis. Lasswitz began publishing science fiction in 1871, contributing short stories and essays to the Nord-Süd magazine from the 1880s. However, today we'll focus on his penultimate book, Aspira, der Roman Einer Wolke, or Aspira, the novel of a cloud, published in 1905. And one sees in here a continuation of Lasswitz's fascination with nature. It is the story of Aspira, a cloud princess and daughter of King Migro, wanting to understand the humans' power to predict and then carry out their designs, to know what will be because they make it so. The first section of the novel consists of Aspira conversing with a host of natural spirits, be it the spirits of mountains, rivers, or mushrooms, and deciding on a plan to become human with the help of the highest one, a transcendental being existing far above the earth and far out in outer space, eventually taking over the body of Vera Lentius, a female scientist on holiday in the mountains. This is where we find the novels to stumble slightly. The initial interactions we see between the various natural spirits is far more interesting than the first few chapters of Aspira using Vera's body to go around and look at stuff, and then write about the stuff that she sees into her journal. And it's not quite a fish out of water story, since Aspira manages to obtain all of Vera's memories, and is implied Vera is sort of there in her body as well as a sort of a submerged second personality, so that Aspira ends up following regular social norms and conventions, which is a lot less exciting than what the initial chapters offered. The story does pick up when she is struggling with either wanting to remain human or letting Vera enjoy her impending marriage to her fiancé Paul Sorm, which Aspira considers going through, but has real issues with the fact that she cannot feel personal attraction or love, and knows that in fact it would be ruining Sorm's happiness if she refused to marry him because of that. All the while, Vera/Aspira has to deal with the building of a tunnel through the mountains and the infatuation of the head engineer, Dr. Martin, for Vera. There is a section of the novel where a chapter mostly consists of the poems that Sorm writes for Vera, and that is kind of tedious, but when you get past that, the novel is interesting enough. There also we find sections where Aspira attempts to use Vera as a mouthpiece to convince people around her that natural spirits exist, which results in either ridicule or pity, and the steady worry on Sorm's side that she might have gone slightly insane while reconvalescing in the mountains. Towards the end of the book, there is also a really interesting little chapter where we have a bunch of natural spirits conversing together in the depths of the earth, trying to conspire to kill all the humans who are working on the tunnel, after the spirits of the gases used to detonate holes in the mountainside tell them that that is what they in fact are doing, a conspiracy that is only undone due to their own ineptitude, and thanks to the humans' resourcefulness, so much of the Vera/Aspira is actually unable to personally help them in any way. The novel then culminates with a scene where Aspira wants to return to the body of Vera, which she left in the mountains to go and converse with her father in the sky, but is unable to do so due to a part of her heart being accidentally sucked up and concealed in one of Paul Sorm's machines, and her dislocated heart piece, also containing a part of Vera's own human heart, having to convince Paul Sorm that the voices he hears in his head are in fact coming from a detached, living, sentient piece of cloud caught in one of his jars, which, considering his naturalistic, no-nonsense bent, is rather a lengthy process, culminating finally in the separation permanently of Vera and Aspira, the return of Veralentius to her former life, and the elevation of Aspira to a level where for just a brief moment she is able to understand and acquire human emotions. Sadly, the book was never translated into any language that I know of, so you will have to actually read it in its original German. However, for those of you not wanting to read Fraktur, which I think was most people, there is a plain script version of the novel on the German Gutenberg website, freely available.